Welcome to the Dana Grant Show, where heart-centered stories, authentic connections, real talk, and real action come together. I'm your host, Dana Grant. I'm a life coach, speaker, and believer in the boundless power within every one of us. Each week, we're diving into raw, transformative conversations that not only spark healing, but growth and unshakable clarity. Because you know what? Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be heard, and your purpose is waiting to be fully lived. You're in the right place. Let's begin. What if the life you've worked so hard to build isn't actually the life you want? Welcome back to the Dana Grant Show, where I have someone in the house today that you're going to want to know. I leaned in and started following her, and I was addicted to almost everything she had to say. If my head could bob up and down like a bobblehead, it was. Welcome, Keren Eldad. She's not only the author. I could spend a lot of time talking about her accomplishments, but her book, Gilded, Break Free from the Cage of Ambition, Perfectionism, and the Relentless Pursuit of More. That should tell you all there is to know right there. Hey, welcome to the show, Keren.
Dana, thank you so much for having me. And I'm sure you can see for those who are watching on YouTube that Waffles is coming to say hello too.
Oh, let's see Waffles.
Here she is.
Oh my goodness. Well, hello, Waffles. Yep. For those of you that can't see, that was a most beautiful cat. That was a big cat.
That was a Siamese kitty cat. She's actually
Yeah.
teeny tiny. She
Oh,
just
is
looks
she?
big on camera. Yeah, she only
Yeah,
weighs
we just
seven
got a
pounds.
side view of her. Yeah, I could see
Yeah,
she was a Siamese. She's beautiful. I love the
she's a
color.
pretty girl. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a pretty girl. Well, sorry for you guys. You're going to have to hop on over to YouTube if you want to see Waffles.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, let's talk about the beginning. I just want to go back and start. What inspired you to offer the services and share what you do? You hold so much space. You hold massive space. And I don't say
Thank
that
you.
lightly.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. All right. Well, I came here the same way that most entrepreneurs find their way into the life of their own creation, whether it's their dream life yet or not. And it was by doing everything quote unquote right and failing fucking miserably. In my life, I have been conditioned, Dana, to be really good, to be really good. My parents are nice people.
Mhm.
They're good, respectable people who have always done things right. They have
Yeah.
gone through academia the correct way. They pursued the correct careers. We were expected to do exactly the same thing, especially as they're
Mm.
immigrants. And that's what I did from the earliest memories I can muster. I won spelling bees, got great grades,
Mm.
didn't eat anything so that I could stay thin and presentable, didn't speak up and say
Mm.
opinionated things at dinner parties, was sweet, was calm, was diligent, was thoughtful. I became an officer in the army. Then after that, I went to the university, a very good university. I earned the top
Mm.
honors there, then another
Mm.
university. And then, of course, I did the rightest thing, Dana, which was marry tall man, which, as we all know,
Mm.
is the apotheosis of everyone's uh, creative impulses.
Oh, I
Unfortunately.
love the way you just laid that out.
I know. And now you can already probably like the listener can already hear Jaws music in the background.
Yeah,
Donna, Donna.
yeah, I agree.
Basically, I found myself swimming into territory that was real enemy territory. The life that I created was good. It was fine. And fine is the worst thing that can happen to a person who really
Mm.
has a desire to have a really magnificent, interesting, your own authored life around here. And so I ended up in what I call a gilded cage. A gilded cage is a cage that looks very shiny and very beautiful from the outside, but is not in fact real gold. It's
Mm.
also a cage. The image of a gilded cage is on that first cover of the first book, which is Gilded. And everything looked right in my life. On Instagram, you would have thought, gosh, she really has it going on. But inside, I was truly suffering.
Mm.
The work was not purpose driven. It was okay. It was really okay. But it just wasn't like lighting me up or what I wanted to do with my life. I don't think I'd ever really thought about what I genuinely want to do with my life. I just thought, what's a nice title with a right salary? The man was not only misaligned, he was abusive. I was in a miserable relationship where, do you remember, like you and I are old enough to remember a movie called Sleeping with the Enemy with
Oh,
Julia
watch the Hunter to
Roberts?
Julia Roberts. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I,
I
I
remember that.
literally lived in a space where if the towels were off in the in the bathroom, like I knew somebody was going to yell at me or even worse. And it was
Yeah.
really terrifying to live that way. And not to mention, as I did also mention, I hadn't eaten since the 90s. So I'm basically living in a life that looks really good, but doesn't feel good, doesn't feel like it's my own life, like it's my own preferences. And so I had to do what a lot of people have to do, which is break everything first, burn it to the ground, and then go on a journey, an inner journey to discover who I am. I did all of that. I'm happy to elaborate at any point, Dana, but in
Yeah.
that process, I learned who I am and also what I really want to do, which is help everybody else break free too. Teach
Right.
everyone what I've learned, which is how to live successfully.
Right.
And and that's really a short way of telling you the story of how I became Coach Karen.
So, is it required for everyone to burn it down?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah,
Eckhart Tolle says there
yeah.
is no coming to consciousness without suffering. So I'm not going to sugarcoat this for anybody. There is no gain without loss. There is literally no way
Mm.
here. You cannot keep everything intact and think, I'll just leave everything shiny and awesome. I won't disrupt anything and I will get the life of my dreams. Nope. Sorry.
What about the people right now? We talked about a little bit earlier about 2025 energy versus 2026 energy. I think that it's kind of evolved energy, not reinventing energy. But I also believe whatever worked before, you're going to have to burn it down. It's got to go. And you've got to pick
Yeah.
up and utilize this new energy, this new everything feels different. What do you have to say about that?
Well, let's talk about this particular example, which is 2025 to 2026.
Yeah.
2025 was the year that will go down in human history as the year that AI was no longer a theory, but became a living, breathing fact, part of everyone's life. It's just
Yeah.
like the year that we crossed the chasm into Facebook. It
Yep.
changed everything. It
Everything.
literally just becomes fact. When you understand that, you understand something that I actually had the incredible privilege of understanding 10 years ago, which is there is no American dream anymore. There is no box. Why are you
Mhm.
trying to work with inside the box? There is no box anymore. And that really has to have become
Mhm.
very clear to people in 2025. There is no box, which means actually it's now an imperative to move in
Mhm.
your own authentic way. Authenticity does
Mhm.
rule now. It's not just something that we say. So we can
Right.
talk about how to evolve into that and to allow that. But the first thing to do is to burn down the box or any remnants of the box.
You said, and I highlighted this over and over again, learn how to identify whether your life is truly fulfilling or simply gilded. Is that like
Yeah.
erasing the lines of the box and saying, you know what, the rules have changed? You're going to have to, are you going to have to reinvent or are you going to have to evolve? What would you take from there? We're erasing the box. It's no longer, they're not in the box. And now they're out here in the desert. And this is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
People are like, I don't know what to do. They're panicking. They're reinventing. They're moving faster and harder. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, no, no, less, not more. What would,
Less, not
yeah,
more. Exactly. Less, not more. You have to really become much more comfortable in who you are. You have to really understand who you are and you have to embrace who you are. Let's talk about what this means
yeah,
in the professional sense.
yeah. What
So
does that
many
mean?
people think that, and chime in, Dana, because it sounds to me like you've been knee deep in this too. They want to make a career pivot, and so they just want to embrace all of the aspects of that career pivot,
Yeah.
embody that, and move into the next thing. As I like to say, different faces, different places. But unless you've reconfigured yourself, you're just going to find something identical on the other side. You'll find more failure. You'll find more stunted results. You'll find more
Yeah.
hustle. And if that's what you want, like especially the coaching industry, you're not going to like this a lot. This is going to be really hard. If instead, I mean, just let me save you some time. And you'll rely on shortcuts and you'll pay
Yeah.
enormous amounts of money to charlatans and snake oil salespeople to sell you garbage you don't need. And then you'll use AI to shortcut your way to consciousness when in fact what people are actually buying from a coach is deep presence and consciousness. So
Yeah.
what if instead you really dedicated yourself to knowing who you are? What if you really dedicated yourself to not only knowing who you are, but then knowing what you prefer and what you really care about? What if you then went down a rabbit hole of mastering that which you really, really care about? You became the
Yeah.
Taylor Swift of your own niche. You became
Mm.
so you don't go broad, you go deep and
Yeah.
you iterate and iterate and iterate to the point where your mastery is unquestionable. You are truly excellent. Then what's going to happen is you will become unmessable with. You will become unquestionably the expert in your domain. And it'll be very, very hard to replicate that ability to be present, that ability to be incisive, and the ability to have and hold a true depth of wisdom, not just knowledge. That's what I mean by evolving with the times. It's allowing you to become a greater version of you than you've ever become before. It's not a question of pivoting and shape shifting into something that you're not.
I love that. I often say it in coaching sessions this morning. I can see their genius, but I need them to hold that genius, and money just being source will follow the authority,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is we go deep and wide because we are that authority and we have to believe it. But what I'm noticing, and tell me if you're noticing this, and I'm seeing it in a lot of professions, people are pivoting left and right because they're panicking
Yeah.
because money's falling off, things aren't the same, and they can't trust. And behind me, that what people can't see, but Karen can see it because I'm lifting my screen up. Trust the
Trust the
process. I
process.
have it back there because trusting the process means I'm
Yeah.
on that playing field to play, and that means I trust that. And I talk about this a lot. Beginning of the year, no more 16 contracts went. It's big money. It's gone. And I trust this process so emphatically that what's coming, I don't need to know. In fact, it's none of my business what's coming, but I can hold that space and I'm calmer and I'm deeper and I'm more self-reflective than ever on that. Like you had said, I call it my genius, what I'm here to do. I'm
Yeah.
here with a purpose. I feel like
Okay, well,
what
let's
was it? What
talk
was
about
that
what you're
movie? Then
saying
this
then.
is a movie too. What was it? Steve, oh, the comedian. My purpose. I found my purpose. It was a comedy show. What was that? Back now I'm going back early 80s, 70s. Steve, people are like, oh, come on, you guys know this one. You know this one. It was such a funny movie.
You have to come up with it and then put it in the show
I
notes
will.
so that I can go back and
Yeah,
remember.
it's
But here's
gonna it's
now
gonna
you're
drop.
getting to the heart of Gilded. The heart of Gilded is pivoting from external orientation,
Yeah.
obsession with significance, with
Mm,
money, with status, to
mm,
obsession with inner life, with purpose, with desire to serve, with devotion, with that which lights you up. Now,
mm.
it's going to be hard for people to switch one to the other, especially if they are in lack. They're not just scarcity thinkers, but they're
But they're in
currently
lack.
experiencing lack. So, one of the first things I like to work on is like money. Let's fix the money sitch, and then it'll actually allow you to evolve. But once that money sitch is fixed, and believe me when I tell you, I hope this doesn't annoy listeners too much. Money is the easiest thing to fix.
Oh no, I always say that. So let's start there.
Loves a whole can of worms.
Yeah.
But you have to then understand that the point is to make scarcity no longer a thing. Because as long as you default to any modicum of there are finite resources, I'm competing for them and I got to get them fast, you are not actually allowing yourself to trust any process, let alone to trust your gift, to trust your genius. So they can't breathe.
Yeah. I say everything's a vibration. We're this body of energy, and we vibrate that panic and urgency out there. And I think would you like say it's true that when we walk into a room, I mean, our energy goes out 15 feet in every direction, but that people can feel the lack, and they can feel the fear and the need, or they can feel the confidence, not ego confidence, but the confidence and the knowing in your
I
presence
think
that.
so. But I also think that people resonate with whatever they are, which means
Mm,
if
mm,
they're if they're
right,
insecure,
Carolyn.
they might find you an insecure person very charming and very compelling.
Hmm.
They won't actually resonate with their true energy, with their projected energy.
Mm.
They'll resonate with their true energy. This is a great example about teachers. I talk about teachers all the time. There are
Yeah.
charlatans all over this industry who don't know what they're talking about, who are walking balls of anxiety, who are plagiarists, in fact, and they're extraordinarily convincing. Why
Yeah.
are they convincing? Is that because people are feeling the energy of confidence? No, it's because they're resonating with the exact energy they're in. So resonance is just about frequency matching. And your job is to understand that you want to be a vibrational match to the highest version of you. And so your job is to work on highest version of you vibration.
I love that. I wasn't planning on talking about this, but you know what? It's amazing how many conversations I've had this week with other people in the industry on this that are calling it out. The plagiarism. I used to say, listen, no matter what they do, they can hijack, they can plagiarize my website, whatever it is, my programs. They don't have the energy with it. I'm
Yeah.
but I always say, no bother, no worry. Let's not put our energy there. Let's keep building. Let's keep doing
Yeah.
what we're doing because that isn't going to work for them because it isn't their, vibrational energy.
Or it will.
Um,
It just doesn't matter because it'll attract a different frequency. My favorite
exactly.
teacher, Esther Hicks, has been
Oh, love Esther.
plagiarized. I love Esther.
Love Esther
Has been
Hicks.
plagiarized within an inch of her life.
Yeah.
It's very obvious when you come across, especially if you're an Esther junkie and you
Yeah.
know that someone is not even bothering to modify the stories. So it actually can take them far. They can build businesses around this. The only
Yeah.
point is, who are they building the businesses for and with, and how do they fill within the business? What
Yeah.
are you really describing as success? And again, I come back to the gilded cage. Are you building yourself real success, which means freedom and self actualization? Or are you building yourself a cage? Plagiarists are building a cage. It can be very shiny, it can include houses and Lamborghinis, but it's
Yeah.
still a fucking cage.
And we're seeing so much of it out there. So people that see that shine and that glam and that polished sales talk and they buy into it. I get a lot of people that show up but not trusting, and I'm like, listen, look, I'm an intuitive. I'm not doing any of that. You're going to have to trust this relationship, and that's what I'm going to give you. I'm not going to sell you on anything.
Yeah.
You got to I need you to trust. But if they show up not trusting because they've gone through, and we both know this because we work in the industry, they've gone through so many of these charlatans and this snake that all it I used to last year, it was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
This year it's not driving me crazy. I thought, it'll
No,
sort
it shouldn't
itself.
drive you
Yeah,
crazy at
it'll
all.
sort itself out.
Yeah, there's two
Yeah,
things you can do here. The first is, as the practitioner, you need to stop caring.
yeah,
You just need to understand that people are where they are. And as the solicitor, as the client, you need to
yes,
develop discernment. Discernment is the thing that will take you very far. Discernment is a skill that I think, especially in the
mhm,
era of AI, needs to be developed extremely heavily. Young people, please listen in. You need to learn how to think. You need to learn how to do proper research. Proper research doesn't mean ask
mm,
Claude what it thinks. Proper research means
mm,
read books. Proper research means hold
mm,
knowledge. Proper research means
mm.
find provenance yourself. My husband is a journalist. He does not take things at face value.
Yeah,
Fact checking means calling five people
fact checking.
and ascertaining facts. Period.
Yeah.
The end. And so I always say that about coaching as well. Have you spoken to five people? Have you actually, like, for example, checked out their testimonials and then verified whether these testimonials are accurate and are real? It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
important.
People
And
ask me for sometimes on numbers and I call and I
yeah,
ask and
with
I give them,
incredible,
yeah.
exactly. And also, like, have you met these people in person? Have you looked at the factors of their life? Are they really proper? Like, I could be talking forever and ever about my cat Waffles and about my husband Ryan. Is there a real Ryan? I don't know. So you should really
Mm,
figure this out. And
yeah.
once you do, you're exercising discernment. That does not mean you are risk free, but it does mean that the risk is mitigated.
That being said, that's interesting. You say I know a lot of people that
Don't buy gilded anything, is what I'm saying.
but
Don't
what if
fall for it.
but even coaches go through this perfection paralysis. Let's
Yeah,
talk about, and they think their life has to be perfect in order to show up. And I see them
sure.
playing the waiting game, the waiting game.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, where you are, people will meet you there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say you know more than you know, and you can coach at that level, and you
Mm-hmm.
still continue to heal, grow, and get the
Yeah.
appropriate support. But we don't stop and hold our breath and say, I'm
Yeah.
sinking. But what do you have to say about that for people
I
that
have to say
are?
about that that if anybody ever comes across as perfect, you should become your spidey discerning senses should become even more heightened. I've started a book tour, as you know, this month. And I've
Yeah,
been speaking with several coaches who are very, very successful. And on every single one of those conversations, we've had a conversation about really bad quarters, about shit numbers, and about clients that just did not work out or processes that we found out didn't work out.
yeah,
The truth about success is that it is messy, that it has ups and it has downs, that we
yeah,
do not know everything, and that we are very comfortable understanding that because that's what's real. If anybody tells you I fell ass back into money, every single one of my launches has been flawless, and I know everything, freaking run.
Yeah.
run. But if you find
Yeah.
a coach with occasional typos who is very comfortable talking about a quarter just not going the way that
Yeah.
they wanted, or a launch from which they really learned, lean in. You're actually in the company of someone much more authentic.
I think though, when you build this and you're established, I mean, I'm going on 10 years, they think that when I launch something, it's not only flawless, that it fills instantly. And I mean, I launched something last year that barely filled and we rebooted it. And,
Yeah,
and we restructure. We're like, you know what? That's not what the people want. And I didn't take it personally. I'm just like, this isn't landing. What do
yeah.
I need to know? What,
That's
what, what do I
exactly
need to
right.
know? Yeah.
We're real learners. We're real students.
Yeah.
Reid Hoffman once said, "If you launch perfect, you've launched too late." I couldn't agree
Ah,
more. There's no such
bravo.
thing. And by the way, even like for
Love
example,
that.
I relaunched my website last year, Dana, and I was like obsessed with it. I thought this is it. This is the most beautiful website ever. And here I am a year later going, this is absolute trash. We need to redo this. That's just how it is. You evolve. The work evolves. Live with it.
Well, and don't you think that after we write a book, that we're like, oh, I'm so past that book already. I don't even know if I
Yeah.
want to launch it because
Or you
that,
start to understand the details. And again,
yeah,
this comes back to this idea of gilding. When I
yeah,
was young, I designed my entire life to look flawless, and look at what a can of worms stood behind that. But when I was
yeah.
brave enough to start showing people that this is fake, here's what's real. What's real ended up really standing the test of time.
I think that's what drew me to you is the number one, I recognize the authenticity and the realness. And I was, like I said, mesmerized at a level and a time where you came up on my radar. And I don't know how, but that's just that rabbit hole. So I give myself in the morning after my meditation and my tea, it was like 15 minutes and boom, there you are. And I'm like, who's this? And, and it was just from that moment on, I thought it's someone I need to know. It's someone who is wise, that isn't pretending to be anything that she is not. And she's willing to talk about the hard things and the real things and just like you said, wide and deep. And
Yeah.
yeah, I absolutely was, what is the word I'm looking for? It's eluding me, but that's okay. It'll come to me just like the
Well, I
movie.
feel the same resonance, and you're an expander for me very much too. We are clearly
Thank
just
you.
crossing each other at the right frequency.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. I haven't looked down at any of my notes because I wrote so many questions that I thought, but you know what? I'm going to go back to something you said that it keeps pulling at me like energetically. For the people out there, and I know because I just came from a big event filled with a lot of billionaires and inventors and people that have created a lot of big companies and investors. And it was a week in San Diego, and when I left, but I also felt in that room with a lot of lack, a lot of scarcity, a lot of fear. It was palpable for me, and I know that there were a lot of people reaching out afterwards, and they're like, "How do I make more money?" So whatever they resonated
Yeah,
in me was, can you tell me how to make more money with this business or this business? And there was someone who's already made a billion and said, I'm stuck in his 70s. I'm stuck where I am. I'm like, well, listen, we're never stuck. People are never stuck. Situations can get stuck, but your mindset might be looping there because there's something fear-based that you don't want to move through. Would you
yeah,
agree with that? And how can
of course.
people right now make more money if they're
Let's
in a
talk about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk about money because
let's
this
talk
seems
about
to be
money.
on
So
everyone's
let's talk
mind.
about real money. Let's talk about fucking fake money. So Gilded
Bravo.
is
Yes.
designed to help you with that. I do want to do a tiny plug next month. I don't know when this goes live, but in May of 2026, my second
Yeah.
book, Guilt Free, will go live. And that actually works you through a system to not
Oh,
just make
bravo.
the money, but to hold the money. Because it's one thing to make the money, it's another thing to hold the money, which is
Oh,
why I completely understand these billionaires. I have the privilege of coaching some very, very
yeah.
wealthy people. And those wealthy people are, to me, not rich. Here's what I mean by not rich. Not rich is person who relies on having certain sum and is constantly monitoring said sum. They believe
Mm.
that they're rich because they have generated or can generate. This is not abundance. Abundance is a state. Abundance is a state. If you tap into that state, you will become rich and you will hold the money. Let's talk about it. The first concept in Gilded is scarcity versus abundance. For those who are familiar, you're going to be bored by this. For those who are not, you'll love it. Scarcity is the idea that resources are finite on the planet and we're all competing for them. Dog eat dog world, Machiavellian, sharkish. Let's get as much as we can. Abundance,
I attracted a lot of that last year.
yeah,
Wasn't a feel good vibration for
it's
me.
a pretty nasty vibration, but it is the dominant vibration on the planet for
Yeah.
sure, and it is certainly the systemic vibration on the planet. Abundance, and that's why it's so much harder to hold and to keep. Abundance is the state of knowing that there are, as Esther Hicks says, no people bringing resources from other planets, and yet our economies, our imaginations, and our resources continue to expand. There is infinite possibility at any given time. When you understand this fundamentally, you can apply it to money because you can start to understand that being rich is first a feeling, then a manifestation. First, a
Mm,
feeling. It's a feeling of specifically ease. It's a feeling
mm,
of ease. What is the feeling of being rich? It's not being worried. Ease. It's not freaking out about, I got the biggest tax bill of my life last year. Not only not freaking out about it, but perhaps even being kind of excited about it. It's being
I
really, really excited to receive. It's
I
about
love
being
that you
really,
said
really
that.
open to receive. It's about being frisky. And so you can start to tune into abundance that way. You can start to literally hear yourself say things like, I'm worried about money, or I feel like the other shoe's going to drop, even if you're a billionaire.
Mhm.
And I need to make more money and I have to close this deal. And you'll catch yourself and you'll swing it differently. You'll swing it
Mm,
into, I want more and I'm excited for more and I'm ready for more. And here's what I'm willing to offer in exchange for more. This completely starts to rewire your approach. Once you rewire your approach or identity, you enter the room differently. And again, this is what starts to attract money because you will start to resonate or connect with the people who actually want to exchange with you at that level, to give you the money, to be more blunt about it.
yeah.
You go from, I gotta make them love me and I gotta make them buy from me to,
Yeah.
I am very likable and I'm really excited to be here. Who
Yeah.
wants to be here with me? That's it.
Mm, I love that. I could never answer the question when people ask me, and I'm on how I attracted so many. I work with some of the wealthiest people in the world. I don't know how I attracted them here. And I honestly say I don't know. It's an energy thing how they found me here in Northern California. It's vibrational because I'm not sure how
Well,
that
that's the
pathway,
answer. I mean, you
you
could
know,
just give them that answer. I tapped into the right frequency, and that's pretty much it. I felt really good about myself. I felt really grounded in who I am. I was very open to it. I was ready to receive them and not self-sabotage and fuck it up. And
yeah.
that's it. And here we
Yeah.
are.
Well, and use me as an example. Burnout. I think that when we start attracting and we keep accumulating, and
Yeah.
I'm probably a little bit of an overgiver. Even though I felt myself getting depleted, I'm so, you know, excited about helping people.
Yeah.
And I probably leaned in a little hard. My energy went a little low, took on a lot. I probably was burning out and didn't recognize it. And all of a sudden, I walked the Camino, I came back, and all these contracts came up at one time. It doesn't normally do that.
Yeah.
They're tritated.
And that's the pivotal point that people are
Yeah.
looking for. Because we can talk about the tactics. By the way, there are like only five basic money moves for becoming wealthy. We can, I mean, you
Yeah.
can listen to Gene Chatsky for that. But before that, the thing that allows you to unlock that vortex of contracts is literally just being open to it, open and receptive to it. And in order to do that, you have to sort of believe. In other words,
Yeah.
the universe never gives you what you deserve. Sorry, people. It doesn't. I wish.
Did you hear
I
that, everyone
wish.
out there? Everyone
It,
that's listening,
it,
I want Karen to say that again. What did you say?
the universe doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you believe you deserve.
Yeah.
And there is a difference. There really is a difference. Many people say, no, I believe I deserve first class. If you really believe that, believe me, trust me, it would be constant upgrades for you. Nothing but upgrades for you. You would find your way to it. But if not, you will find your way away from it. And so
Mm.
your job in the inner journey, your job in the de-gilding process is to really know that you are worthy of it no matter what. You don't need to come up with the tactics or with the costumes in order to get it. You are worthy of it. And once you tap into that, you're in the zone.
Would you believe I always tell people that, abundance is your birthright. You're born with two fears, and the fear of loud noise is the fear of falling. Everything else you've accumulated, and your subconscious is running this story, and people unpack their stories, and I'm like, is that even yours? How can they debunk the stories that they've created that, they've heard from their parents? Money doesn't grow on trees. You've got to work hard for your money. So here they're in this situation. They're trying to build, they're trying to
Yeah.
reboot the abundance and get on this playing field of abundance and plant all these new spiritual seeds. But they've got this repetitive story. And we
Yeah.
know that there's 65 and 85% are that same stories going like this all day long. How do you interrupt those? Because I love how simple you kept this, because I'm always like, I'm the simple girl. Keep it simple. And they're like, there's
Yeah.
got to be a more complicated plan. And I'm like,
No, there isn't.
easy way,
It's
hard
it, it's
way. Yeah.
simple. Now, unfortunately,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's easy. You know that, Dana. It's
Yeah.
not easy. It's really hard to rewire. It took me many years. It
Yeah.
takes me months with my clients, but it is possible. It is simple. In other words, it's pretty straightforward. Now, there are several ways to identify limiting beliefs and reframe limiting beliefs. I'm only going to give you the introduction. The introduction is, and by the way, everything is in my books, etc., in all
Yeah.
books. The first is to understand that the difference between a limiting belief and an unlimited belief is feeling. Unlimited beliefs feel frisky and exciting, and limiting beliefs feel bad. They feel bad in the
Mm.
body. They, like, for example, I can't afford this. I don't know about you, but I mean, my back hurts when I think things like that.
Lower
Or
back. Yeah.
lower
It's like,
back,
yeah,
or
lower
you
back is,
just get like, I'm not good enough for that. Oof, chest or flushed in the face. They usually feel bad in the body. Limiting beliefs literally feel limiting. They not only sound ugly, they sound reasonable to a lot of people. They just don't feel right.
for
Yeah,
those of you that can't
exactly.
see, I'm,
Louise
I'm holding
Hay.
up Louise Hay, Heal Your Body. I always got to say, I was born on her birthday. The weird synergy there is crazy. But that is, I always tell people, this is a body thing, you
This is
know?
a body thing, and you got to just start becoming aware of it because
Yeah.
unfortunately, your brain makes things sound right to you.
Yeah.
It makes things like money doesn't grow on tree totally make sense, but your body is like, I hate that, and I would really like what I want.
So how would they make that shift right there? They
So
don't
that
even they don't
once you
even know
understand
they've
it,
said that, but
if
they're
yeah, but if you understand already that that feels ick, it feels
yeah.
cringe to you. If it doesn't feel cringe to you, enjoy your purgatory. Have another helping of the neurosis. That's not my job. But if you do feel cringe about it and you are done saying things that literally don't feel right in your body, or hearing other people say things to you that don't feel right about you, they sound like they're speaking defeat on you, they don't feel right in your body, then your next job is to start doing the work to reframe those beliefs. And there are a couple of options. The first is the pause principle, which is something I teach. You can even download it on my website. And it's
And maybe we'll have the link here for you as well, because I think that
sure.
would be a great one. I love
Or
that.
just go to
Yeah.
KerenEldad.com, download it. It's
Yeah.
very simple. It's a three-step process or a very, very famous process known as the work by Byron Katie. And that's a four-step process. These both are mindfulness techniques. And what mindfulness techniques are for is for the chance to inquire your thoughts, for your chance to just come up against a thought like, I can't afford this. I can't have what I want. And here's why, before your brain goes cuckoo maluku, and say, is that true? Is that 100% true? Give me 5 reasons why that's not true. And once you start to understand that most of your thoughts are demonstrably thought false and can be proven false, even with one example, you are no longer beholden to them and you can start working outside of them. And this is when the great Louise Hay says, you get from one possibility, which usually sucks, to a totality of possibilities, some of which suck less.
Mhm.
Gradually, the more you choose the possibilities that suck less, you become richer and richer and richer.
I love every word that you have spoken, but I'm going to go back to Byron Katie. Halfway
Mm.
through this, I wrote down Byron Katie. It dropped
Mm-hmm.
in because I love Byron now, Katie. But
Hey.
back then, when I first started, I came across her and I'm like, I had disdain and dislike for her. I'm
Same.
like,
And by the way,
absolutely
I
not.
said that to her. You know, she was the first guest on my podcast, Coached. And I said to her, I dismissed your process for such a long time because I
Yes.
thought, how could 4 questions relieve all suffering? You've got to be crazy. But she was absolutely right. And A
Yeah.
breathtaking process.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But in the beginning, I resisted.
Yeah.
I was angry. I'm like, I really dislike her. She just doesn't know what she's talking about. And now I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, it's amazing how that limited belief, those stories can be so powerful. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you another
And that's
scenario.
just so everybody knows the reason that's
Yeah.
happening is not because you're actually smarter than every guru on the planet. It's because your ego does not want you to change. Change is really hard. And like we said in the beginning, change involves loss. And on the subconscious level, at least, you know that. You know that you going into the greatness of your potential will cost you friends, family, love, criticism, a whole bunch of stuff that you're really not interested in. So instead of going there, you'll make someone as sweet and as wonderful as an 85-year-old named Byron Katie a villain. But once you get over yourself and
Mm.
you understand that that nice old lady is on your side, you will
Yeah.
get the kingdom of heaven.
Oh, wow. Just sit with that. I mean, really just sitting with that. There's so much truth there that it almost makes my next question not relevant. I haven't even looked down at my questions. You know, I'm looking down at the pages of questions that I wanted to ask you, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm always guided by intuition. It's like I never look down because it's like your energy is so expansive that you're just so intuitive. It's so intuitive too. It's like I wrote down Byron Katie and then you bring up Byron Katie. I mean, there's so many signs. I always look for signs. But that being said, I have a scenario for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of I'm not going to say difficult, but challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, someone who works extraordinarily hard. I know why she gets her value out of working really hard, but has not yet succeeded and felt the success in her life at an age where you would think that there would have been some form of success,
Mm-hmm.
and there hasn't been.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to someone that has had the longevity of a lot of work and doing and really is, I'm not going to say stuck, but devoted to that, knows a different way, but is not, but doesn't know what it feels like yet? What success is, because on our last on one of our sessions it was very revealing of I don't know what that feels like. How could I
Mm-hmm.
embody what I don't know?
Mm.
But
Okay.
do any of
So
us really know? I don't know what
yes,
the
yes,
next
we do.
version is.
Yes, we absolutely do know.
Okay.
It's like when somebody says to me, how do you know that your husband is the love of your life?" I fucking know. There's no
Yeah.
question. There's just no question. So let's talk about this. And let me just clarify the question. So this is a
Yeah.
person who, let's be honest, uh,
Yeah.
is not where they thought they would be by now.
Yeah. And
And
they're
it's not
struggling.
because she's incapable. It's not because
No.
she's lazy. It's not because she
No.
hasn't tried hard enough. Right?
Overworker.
Right.
Overworker, really
Okay.
capable. Yeah.
And the frustration is happening not because she hasn't tried, but because she has tried. It's because she has shown up. It's because she has done the work. It's because she has followed through in all the ways that a high functioning, responsible, perfectionist superstar does. Yeah?
Yeah.
But she somehow has not reached the results that match the level at which she's operating.
Yeah.
Well, the gap is the thing that you need to become honest about. And the problem is seeing the gap as a problem. The problem is seeing a gap as something is wrong with you when it's instead a sign that you are being called to level up. If you see it as a sign that something is wrong with you, you will try to solve it with more strategy and with more tactics in the direction of working very hard. This will be futile. As the great Martha Beck says at the beginning of her magnificent book, The Way of Integrity. I
Love
love
that
that book.
book.
Love that book.
Love Martha. Love the book.
She opens by saying, Dana, if you suspect that you're not good at sex, don't do it harder. This is not a strategy problem. She is suffering from an identity problem.
Yeah.
Her identity problem is what needs to reorganize.
Mm.
Otherwise, she will take more and more tactics that will continue to chase results instead of allowing results to chase her. Her identity needs to shift to who she really is. Her identity needs to shift to knowing and loving and accepting herself. Once she does, that new standard will reorganize everything else. It will stop overfunctioning and start to become seen, to become magnetic. And what is required for that is not surface level business or tactical coaching, or adding more information. It's about undergoing a real transformation that changes the way you think, that allows you to understand why you do what you do and what your wounding patterns are, and help you close those gaps so that you are really frisky now. You're rid of those. I
I,
hope that's helpful. That's a big
well,
can of worms. But again, I've written two
yeah.
books. I'm trying to help
I
everybody
don't know, Karen.
understand and get there.
It was not only helpful because I know she's going to listen to this, and I felt at liberty to be able to share that, felt intuitively I could, but you also validated my deep work, because
Yeah,
I think that sometimes when we
totally.
release an enormous amount and we go deep, we're like, should I be going so deep? Should I be holding so much space? But I know what's needed. And like
Hell
you
yeah.
said, that this is not
And
surface.
without it, you shouldn't do anything. Let me give you
Yeah.
a concrete example. Some people will be frustrated by this and think this is esoteric. So I'm going to be really, really concrete. Last year, I had the biggest year of my career. Gilded blew up. The podcast was like the big sleeper success of 2025. Who knew people wanted to listen to the Coach podcast? It turns
Yeah,
out they did. So
they
my
did.
business, 6X's, and very, very quickly. Then, in the end of the year, as I am starting to assess and evaluate the year, I noticed that my results went back to usual. They went back to normal, Dana. And so
Mm.
I immediately, the old hustler, the old wounded conditional self who needs to prove themselves and who needs to be impressive all the time, kicks
Yeah.
into high gear and starts thinking strategy, tactics. How do we get this fixed? Luckily, there's a coach, Keren, who is available now too. And she lives in
Mm.
my head as well. And she goes, "Oh, no, you don't. You're coming up against some old shit. You need to resolve this. You need to take as long as it freaking takes to understand what exactly about you is feeling insecure and terrified, and an identity. What identity is still here that is literally not capable of holding the next level? And until you close the gap between Karen 1.0 and Karen 2.0, you're not doing anything. Then after that, I
Mm.
promise you, I did all the tactics and the strategy, and here we are in a completely new year. But until I sat down myself and did
Yeah.
that work myself again and again, killing the hustler and allowing a real
Mm.
empress to emerge, I can't retain anything. I hope that makes things much more tactical for people.
Oh, not only tactical, I feel like I've been immersed in like gold. It's like I told you
Thank you for
2020.
describing my new framework, gold.
Well, oh, isn't that interesting? I
It's
I
literally
didn't.
called gold.
Well, and then I pulled a golden goddess for you. She's immersed with golden hair. I mean, that
Wow.
everything about you was golden flame red hair. But I just saw golden, that everything you just dipped me in. It didn't just validate, because I'm trusting, but you have to know that you came along and just
Yeah.
held space, even for me, even the listeners, but even me. I'm always a student of the universe. I'm always leaning in and always
Yeah.
debunking old stories. But it just was so timely. So I thank you for sharing and being so generous. I'm going to look down and see if there's anything that we haven't covered. Are
Oh,
we?
it's my pleasure. I just want people to understand that what we try to do here, what Dana and I are always trying to do, is try to understand what we're going through and then codify it so that you go through it faster. And Gold, is a series of 4 steps that help you to do that inner scan faster. That's pretty much it. But I mean, right, you would agree, Dana, that our job is to walk so that other people can run.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. I was going to talk about, I know we're limited on time. So what about the people right now that are, they're feeling all the moves and change, and they're coming up against resistance. What do you have to say to those people that are resisting right now? And they're go
Don't worry about it. Your desire isn't going anywhere.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
What do you think
Okay.
is going to happen? You think you're going to outrun your biggest dreams? No, they're just going to get louder. So resist, enjoy, take a nice nap. It'll come back.
Well, y'all need to know that I'm going to invite Karen back, because we haven't even touched the surface. I didn't even look down, like I knew I wouldn't, just because I knew you had so much organically to say, and it was so aligned with, I believe, not only the times of what's going on, but it was just so full of wisdom, because I don't think there's anything that I've heard from you where I'm not sitting back nodding my head like a little bobblehead, like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that's so wise. And thank you for that new perspective. There feels like it's expansive. instead of, the ego contracts, I always say, and then the soul expands. Your soul's always holding bigger and bigger space.
Yeah.
Um, from my perspective. So for all of my listeners, where can they find you? I know you've got a book. I know you have a community called the Club.
Mhm.
Where can they find you? Where do you like to hang out? And
So you
what's
can
going
find me
on?
at KerenEldad.com, and Karen is spelled with two E's. And you can find me on Instagram at Coach Karen. And the best entry points are always Gilded, my first book, Guilt Free, my second book, and Coached, the podcast. With that, you are so fully equipped. I can't even think of any way I could serve you even better. That said, I want you to know, Dana, that I'd love to have a conversation with you as well if you're ever in Austin.
Oh, you absolutely. I will fly into Austin just for you. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
We'd be
And
delighted to have you.
yeah, your energy, your force, your wisdom, your truth, and your authenticity. I am just really grateful that you're here. I'm just, I think 2026 is about knowing, knowing without knowing,
Yeah,
your truth. And I just thank you for sharing your truth today.
I
And
really
I
appreciate it.
and I'd love to have you back for a part two because your books are coming for me. I've ordered them. They're not quite here yet. And I was in San Diego when I ordered them. And I'm like, oh, come on. Normally it's like, boom, it's here. And I'm
I
like,
know.
they're not here. But
Don't
I
worry.
can't.
I'll personally send you copies.
Oh, did you hear that? I get a signed copy
That's
in
right.
return. Okay, I'm going to send you my book, The Truth Within the Lie. I'm
I
going to
have it.
send. Oh, do you already?
Hmm.
Yeah, there you go. And uh-oh, she didn't say anything about that. Yeah.
I haven't read them yet. I haven't read the
Ooh.
book yet, but I will.
Oh, and you know what? I can guarantee that she's going to give me a very authentic, real synopsis of it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Mm. You are a goddess. You've just been such an incredible blessing today. Keren Eldad, I thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing and being so generous. And until next time, everyone, thank you for joining us on the Dana Grant Show, and look forward to part two. And this will be out actually before May, before your book. Yeah, I'm excited to have it roll out
Lucky,
sooner,
lucky.
sooner
Thank
than
you.
later. Okay, okay. Bye for now.